look at all those other things, Facebook and that, but they're on the ones where you have free speech and that, and they're getting together and they're working in groups, and they're going to start working in their state to try to undo things. Now, they haven't gotten into the woo-woo side. They just know that the 5G is bad. They know the food, the water, and all that chemtrails need to stop, but they haven't gone much further. And I figure that's a good start.
Right.
So
that is a good start.
And by the way, what I'm hearing from people, you know, I asked exactly what is orgonaut, plasterite, the sigils, all that kind of stuff. What does it actually do? And someone said, well, it doesn't make it go away. What it does is, I use the word comb. It smooths out the energy where it passes through us without harming us. That is what it does. And then I tried to post it, and I found out I was getting into UnFuckers on, you know, the website without, I wasn't signed in. This guy, it's meant for rats. He's in Canada, and it's this big old like stocking of woven copper. And it's supposed to go in the sewers and that. And he says it's very soft. It's amazing. He's making stocking caps and then holding it on with the band of copper, some kind of copper tape, and then wire, and rolling it around like a stocking cap. And then he puts a regular hat over it. And he says he can drive places without getting all those signals in his head. He puts an EMF poncho underneath his shirt, and he's got a piece of copper over his heart area.
Yeah, there's something with copper. There's something about copper. Why, you know, in Colorado, let's see, I think it was about 2003, the city, I lived in Hunter, Colorado, it was southeastern Colorado. They came through and they took all of the copper pipes, they replaced the gas pipes. The gas company did this. No cost
ours is, ours is all PVC and galvanized steel, most of it.
So why'd they do that? Because there's something about that copper. Why do they need that copper? Why are they taking the pennies? The pennies, I'm saving pennies. I have buckets of pennies. Everybody's like, oh, they're worthless. No, feel the difference in the pennies, even from the early 80s, but mainly the 70s and the 60s. It's like, wow, what a difference, you know?
I've got one of those gizmos to make colloidal silver.
Yes.
And I'm going to get the wires because it could be used for copper. And I'm going to make some copper, but I also made Ormus, which is supposed to be high in copper. And I haven't even gone for a week on it. It makes me sleepy. Some people get real energized and others get sleepy. I'm the one who goes into, well, it's bedtime. I have no idea. So I'm going to see what's going to happen with that. But I've got sigils all over. I took some, what are they called? Sacred geometry things, and I embroidered it.
Yeah.
I embroidered them, and then I sewed down beads of gemstones, and all of them are surrounded by what do you call them? Black tourmaline beads on the outside, because they never have to be cleaned. The thing is, I can rinse these under the water if they get dusty. And I mean, I've got sigils on my lights, my equipment, everything. My refrigerator, my washer and dryer, and my stove have not one digital chip in them whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, well, I got Speed Queens. I saved up for those suckers. They are all manual, and my refrigerator is a side-by-side with no digital bullpucky in it. We lose power. When you lose power, it goes on and off. It destroys the appliances.
Yeah.
You know, and they charge you, I don't know how much for it, you know, so yeah. The reason I don't have my camera on is because I'm wearing this old raggy t-shirt and I have to make sure parts aren't hanging out and the shirt is on, you know, placed right and all the rest. So I'm not going to turn on my camera. I look like shit and I don't care, but I don't wear makeup most of the time. Why wear makeup for out in the garden and for the chickens? You know, my husband doesn't care, of course, neither does the dog, but I don't want to change my clothes. I'm in my house rags, as I call it.
Gosh. I'm just like, I guess I broke that barrier. If you leave my car, it's like a false barrier, a fear and anxiety of like, it took
Oh
me
shit.
years, it took me years ago that it was like, just like being, like, yeah, I can understand, obviously. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on camera if I was like, oh my God, I don't even want to look at myself for whatever reason. I don't want to even look at myself. Fuck
Oh,
that.
Natasha, I can't do yoga. In fact, I looked at the picture of this one thing I was trying out, and I told my husband, if I look like this, call the ambulance. And he said, after I get a picture. I'm doing qigong. That works really well because I'm 58 years old, and I don't bend well. I might be in pretty good shape for my age, but I don't bend well.
This made me think of how much I stretch, Deb. It's like I try to do this stretching stuff every day. I mean, just to limber myself up because
Oh, right.
I hate anxiety. I don't like anything that makes even my stomach feel tense.
Yeah. I did see something on the 5 Tibetations. I'm not saying that right. And that looks doable for someone my age. And I may try that. We'll see. If you get a call, I've been in the hospital, you know what happened.
Hopefully not.
Oh, geez.
So what do you guys think's going on in Antarctica? Don't you think it's a little odd that all of these
Everything
people,
is a little odd.
I know.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about.
I think they're gutting it.
But
of everything that's in there, they're gutting it.
One night I was watching. This is a while ago. And I've looked at aliens on and off through the years. I don't know how I really feel about any of it. But I was watching this guy, Phil, and I can't remember his last name. He was actually killed later. But this was back in the 70s when he was going down. I think it had to do with Antarctica. And they had these bases that were there. And they supposedly had, like, they went down like miles into the ground. And he had a specific level of like a third, I don't know, he had enough of a clearance to get into the place and go down a couple of levels, but not that many levels. But he talked about all these different things, like supposedly there's different fractions of them. And I don't know. I think the reason that I do believe that it's possible that they're around is because they've been conditioning us since E.T. What was that, Independence Day, all the different alien movies. You know what I mean? They've been,
if you think about it, they've been programming us for thousands of years.
They have.
Everything is, it's free will, but they give you two choices, and it's between this pile of shit and that pile of shit.
Right.
And it's kind of like, well, you don't have to take them all, and then you're in deep shit if you don't pick one.
Right.
And that's not free will or choice as far as I'm concerned.
No.
But yes, Natasha, I'm going to try the Tibetan ones and get a stretch on. My niece supposedly is a yoga teacher, my sister's daughter, but all of them are down in Southern California, and they're not very nice people. I rarely talk to my sister, and that they're really stuck in the programming. I mean,
most people are.
I know.
And it's hard. I don't know how. And I think we've all probably been on the same path, because I think we all show up when we're supposed to. We all show up together when we're supposed to. Whatever point in your life you show up with whoever.
Right.
But like, we're all here for a reason. Maybe it's because we are doing it, fixing it one thought at a time, one collective, voice at a time. I don't know. I think it's, I don't know what the answers are.
Well,
really.
I noticed it goes in a progression. First, people wake up to the political crap.
Right.
Then they start looking at what the governments are doing to them. Then they look at it worldwide. And so once they get through that part, and that some go off into woo-woo. Now I've been in woo-woo for most of my life,
Right.
and that so I've been more in that way. I kind of stepped back and looked at all this stuff going in the political and whatever, and just went, oh, this sucks shit. I mean, I since I started voting, it was when Reagan first came in. After that, I voted for our dogs and that for years, and that the only reason I did Trump is it's fucking everybody up.
Right.
It's driving them insane, and so it's waking them up to looking at everything else that's going on politically, and that. So then if they start trying to work on that, then it wakes them up to, I think, to the other energy stuff. It's kind of like a 12-step program,
Right.
And that it's just to get people to start noticing, oh, wait a minute, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Right. And then maybe they'll start looking into the spiritual parts.
Right.
And that there's they're waking up people looking at all the ugly stuff in the political, and now they've gotten up to the fact we're still under the crown in the United States.
Absolutely.
And the next thing is they're going to start showing everything with the Vatican, and what the whole church programming does, and what that was, because it all leads to that is the main control system, is the religions. Right. And it's to keep us from getting our conscious, and if we don't have our consciousness, they have still control.
Right.
And that. So I'm seeing a lot of people, some are progressing faster than others, and then some aren't.
Right.
I hope I'm not yelling. I'm out on my porch.
No.
No. I have a real soft voice, and I've got headphones on, so I can't tell how loud I'm speaking.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah. You're not even too loud. Andy. You're fine.
Yeah, well, it's just when I go back in the house, my husband goes, he puts the hand in the low tones thing. Oh, if my voice gets loud, he thinks something is very wrong. And that when my voice goes up, and that, because I normally speak very softly.
Right.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Oh,
hi there.
Oh, I dealt with
Trina.
How are you?
I'm good. I missed a lot of the show because my husband was having a computer meltdown, so I was like, I gotta help with the Mac. And okay, when you talk about,
I didn't know what time it was. I was listening to Garden of Eden, or Gods of Eden. There we go.
Oh yeah, the Gods of Eden.
I got lost. Yeah, well, you got to listen to that guy's version of Star. You really got to. It is up. I mean, you're not supposed to be laughing. Huh?
William Bramley.
John. Yeah,
the guy who wrote.
It's not written. No. It's not read by him. It's read out by this guy who's he has a radio show. His name, I think, is Josh Reeves.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like I said, it was kind of like,
I'm very familiar with the Global Reality show. Yeah, the Global Reality.
Okay. Yep. Okay. He starts going, I fucking knew it, or fuckers, and it's just, I'm laughing, and you're not supposed to be laughing at this stuff, but I mean, it's just hearing someone spending more time commenting than reading the story, because it's not that long of a book. I am going to get the real book eventually, but it's just listening to him read this and stuff. And when you look at it, all of this is down in history, and people don't realize.
What's his name? The guy reading it?
I think it's Josh Reeves.
Okay, Josh Reeves.
Wait a minute.
That's
yeah,
not.
Hang on.
Okay, I'm glad I asked you again, Deb, because I'm not on enough sleep. Plus, I've had some cannabis. So, and my brain,
Okay, wait, I'm going to type it.
Okay. My brain tends not to shut up. So it's like,
okay, it's on YouTube, and it's
Josh Reeves. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you, because I remember Josh Reeves has actually read a lot of books online on his show. He's read a lot of books on his show.
Yeah, supposedly there's a, when I'm done with it, he interviews Bramley too. And
yeah. I'd actually say I think I've heard that interview. I think, yeah. I'm glad someone else brought Josh Reeves up in the Global Reality, because he's not that known to anybody that I know, and any of us, big group of us, family we got here. It's like, so yeah, there's a lot of people who haven't. Well, yeah, Josh Reeves is not that well known yet, and he's been doing it since like 2008. The show. What are you saying, Trina? Said some, yeah. By the way, hi again, Trina. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, don't worry about not having makeup on and looking like you've been working on a farm all day. Because, hello.
Oh, mine is
And
just
why
like I
put
said,
on
I'm wearing
makeup for
rags
this?
right now.
I'm like, come on. This is like beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, don't worry about it. I mean, you guys have seen the videos I do. I'm like, I look like death. Okay, so just go for it.
That's good.
It helps people to know who you are too.
Oh.
No, I mean, just like in general, just it helps us to know each other better too.
Yeah.
It makes it more personable.
My icon is my youngest grandson when he was 1, and the picture does not show his papa on the other side with both of his fingers up his nose. And that is my favorite picture. I blew that up into an 8x10 and it's on my wall.
Well, my profile on Facebook, my picture is different than the one in here. The one on Facebook is me smooching my husband and him making a face like this, like, get off of me, woman. We do love each other, I swear to God. Anyway, I just wanted to pop on and say hi. I still have computer meltdowns going on. I'm uninstalling shit the boys put on there, and I'm sorry I missed so much of the discussion, but I did want to pop on and say hi, love you all.
Are you doing okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
cool.
You know that urgency thing that was talked about early in the show?
Mm-hmm.
Everything feels urgent and like, got to do it now.
Yeah.
My husband in a freaking nutshell. He is losing his ever-loving shit. He turned 41 in December, and he's like, retirement, Trina. Insurance, Trina. What are we doing, Trina? And I need this taken care of right this minute, and I need this taken. And I'm like, woo. I'm like in this, hey, we're out on the farm. We're living our dream. Money's tight, but it's all starting to work out. And he's just like, whoa. You know, like,
that's normal for that age.
Answer.
Yeah,
it's
normal.
Up with an answer right now, now, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm working on it. I'm thinking of things where we've made a lot of progress in the last 6 months. It's like that patience thing. I was talking to him about that all last week. The patience, and understanding, like truly seeing where we were 6 months ago and where we are now. This is massively different and massively better in 6 months. So, hey, but now I think because it's better day to day, because money's still tight, because there isn't that future figured out, he's able to focus on more the long term because the now is so much better. Does that make sense? Where he put off the long term because the now was messed up, and he's coming outside and he's talking very loudly on the phone. So I'm gonna mute. But he yells on the phone like he's just But I love y'all. We'll talk soon.
Love you.
Take care.
You too.
I've lived in the forest for I think 3 decades now.
Nice.
Have we been in the mountains 3 decades? Yeah. And it takes a few years, longer. It takes a few years before you finally realize all that stuff you worry about, you stop worrying about it. And you just, the farming, we've got what they call a mini farm because we have chickens, but and we're not going to get those again when they die off. I'm not going to put them out, if they stop laying and that, we're going to just let them live. Of course, the rooster may not make it that long. He's become insane. But you change the longer you're out in nature in such a way where it's absolutely wonderful.
I like the quietness of it. Where I'm at, I don't get any real quiet. Where I'm living, it's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
unfortunately, we've got trains about a quarter mile away that shake the house. They're coming from Canada, and they're filled with soy garbage, all sorts of stuff that scare the hell out of us and name. And a lot of it's coming from China because China can't get all their crap in, through the American ports. So they send it through the Canadian ones. Yeah. I'd love to see those trains stop, but that's the only noisy thing we have. But yes, the quiet's nice. Natasha, I'm up in northern Idaho. I'm about 38 miles from the Canadian border. I'm almost smack dab in the middle of the Panhandle middle-wise. So that means, 30 miles? I'm about 15 miles from Montana and 15 from Washington. The Panhandle is real narrow up here. Oh, I've been to Idaho Falls. I don't like it down there. I don't like southern Idaho at all. It's very angry down there. It's very angry, and it's hot. It's like being in Fresno, California all over again.
I have to chime in on that one. I live in Northeast Oregon. I had family down in Boise and Caldwell, southern Idaho. Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. It's terrible.
Just like
it's
Fresno.
The most negative energy.
Yes.
But then several years ago, Jesus, I'm getting old. I want to say bullshit. 17 years old.
Yeah.
Shut up. My husband was working on the railroad, and he was on the track side where they built the track, so he traveled all the time. And we went up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. He was working up there, and it is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous up there. But southern Idaho, I'm like, y'all can have that.
Coeur d'Alene has changed. You go down there, and by time, we have spent our time, because we there's just certain things that we only can get down in Coeur d'Alene. Like I get organic kibble for my dog. Otherwise, I make all of her food organically. But Coeur d'Alene, after I don't know. Everybody who's working behind the counter is definitely human, but I'm not sure about everybody else.
That's how I feel about Boise. And
it's gotten like that. Yeah. Whatever's going on, it's like a turtle shrinking in its head by the time we leave Coeur d'Alene and start heading up.
Oh.
And that there's spots in Sandpoint that are real icky. And
really?
That's the part where the area they all live together, and it's all the Microsoft workers that fly in on their Lear jets to Seattle back and forth every day. Those areas, they're real dark. And in fact, oh gosh, those people, they'll have a craft show and they'll bring out this stuff that they didn't make and selling it as handmade crafts. Well, yeah, someone else made it, but the idea is to have your own stuff. Mm-hmm. But they're very negative people. I don't like them very much at all. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. When we moved here in November, and I think I talked about this a little bit. It might have been on my regular Facebook, but my son, he's 20. It was his turn to drive, and God bless him, he got through Boise. He was the one that had to drive through Boise at 6:30 on a Tuesday night. And we finally got out of Boise, and he went, I am never going back there again. Okay, baby, you don't have to. It was absolutely hysterical. And he was out here with me just a minute ago. I wish he was still here, because I'd be like, hey, Trent, well, what'd you think about Boise? And he'd be like, not going back. But the funny thing is, my sister-in-law lived there a few years back, and she wants to move back so badly. And she is one of the most negative people I've ever met in my life. And I went, well, maybe that suits you.
Yeah.
And I sound hateful when I say that, but seriously,
No, you
it's
don't.
just
I think
vile
negative
there.
people kind of collect together.
She hates it here. She hates coming out to our farm. She says,
where are you at?
It's too much nature. LeGrand.
LeGrand.
We're in between Baker City and Pendleton.
Oh, okay, up in that corner.
Yeah, very northeast. Yeah.
Okay.
But we're outside of, we're out on a farm. It's a 5-acre farm, but it's a farm.
Yeah, we
We're
only got 2 acres, but yeah.
Yeah, and she hates it. She
she?
absolutely hates coming here. And every time she does, she goes, it's too much nature. It's just too much nature. And I'm like, you are so disconnected. It hurts me. It hurts me how disconnected she is. Because this is everything. Like, I feel a complete change in myself, in my kids, just being
wonderful.
out here. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Anyway, I said I was going to shut up, but
well,
you know me.
My sister lives in Westminster, California. That's southern part. Her husband had a chance to start a business with his best friend up in in the Seattle, up in that area. Her son was getting asthma. She was taking him to the doctor and letting them use the drug trials on her own son. So that tells you what my sister's like.
No.
She refused to move out of that area. Now, my brother-in-law has a huge trust fund. We're talking millions. And my sister wanted to stay down around his mother, around the money, and kiss her butt and let her son continue to be sick instead of moving up to Washington where her son's health would have been okay. So there's something wrong with some of these city people, the way they like their darkness. They're so programmed into all that, the money and stuff. She's purposely did things to try to get on TV twice. There's nothing. Yeah, there is nothing between my sister and I in common except for the fact we have the same parents. I asked my mom at one point, is she a changeling? And she laughed and she says, no, Deb, that's not nice.
Well, one of my sisters, there's 5 of us, we're all girls, and one of my sisters, we swear, came from the milkman. And my mother is not that kind of woman at all, but we've always said, Mom, who was the milkman? Seriously.
Yeah. Hey, I asked my mom, I was hoping that my father wasn't my father, and she, look at the dimple on your chin. And you got their eyes. And I said, well, I didn't get the eyelashes, so I was hoping no, but because my father was dead. He's dead.
I did not want to be my father at all. I did not want to be my father at all. Massive abusive. Yeah. I've talked about it before.
Oh yeah, hypochondriac.
And I look so much like him. And as I get older, like I'm starting, and you guys just bear with me. It's my change and where I'm at in my change, but I'm starting to get my skin sagging, like this little pocket that comes down.
That comes with age.
And that is a trait of my dad's. And I look just like now with this ball cap on and you can't see any of my hair and I have no makeup on. I'm like, I look just like the person that hurt me the most. And it's painful. It's painful to look at myself sometimes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but here's another way to look at it. You are what he could have been.
That's a great.
And he chose a different path.
I love that. That's exactly what I've tried to do with my kids. That's exactly what I've been doing. I will be the exact opposite that I can possibly be, especially with my children.
We raised our daughter the exact opposite of how my husband was raised and I was raised. And now my mom, she basically kind of raised us because she had to be mother and father, because my father wouldn't make a decision, because if he made a decision it was wrong, he'd be responsible, and that drove him insane. I mean, my dad was psychotic. So
I can relate. So is my
and so
so is my
the thing is the thing is you know, the stuff my mom did, a lot of it I did keep, and that because she wasn't overly strict and let us learn to, you know, do, you know, like I couldn't go out with unless there was a bunch of friends if I was with a boy, you know, that sort of thing. And but she did let me go out and do things so I would learn. Now, I had a friend who was not allowed until she was 16 to go out. When she did that night, she got wasted. Now, I was a teen in the 70s, so we're talking, you know, loaded, drunk, and was at the top, and they had to get the fire department because she was wasted on top of the Fresno water tower. If Megan was on here, she would know what I was talking about. It turns out I went to junior high with Megan. We were in two different crowds. I was first generation stoner in junior high school. You know, the one on the back quad smoking cigarettes, and then we'd go off grounds and, you know, have a joint. So.
I love it.
But the thing is we can pick and choose what we learned from our parents, you know, what was good and what was bad. And we can also choose not to be what they were or let it affect us. You know,
my daughter has said that because
yes.
I don't have a good relationship with my mom. And my daughter Amy is in UU. She doesn't post much, but she's in there.
Yeah.
And she's 22 now, and she has seen the relationship I have with my mom. And my dad is, you know, non-existent anymore. He still lives, but he's not in my life, hasn't been for
mine died on my
10
birthday.
years. But she has said that she feels bad for me because she's like, Mom, I can't imagine not having you. She's like, I can't imagine not having you. And I see that you don't have that with your mom. And it breaks her heart for me. And I'm like, but baby, I did the best I could to form that relationship with you so you wouldn't experience what I experienced, you know, and I tried to choose a guy that was an awesome dad and you wouldn't have the same experience as I had. And that is all we can do. That is truly all we can do.
All
You
you
can
can
come
do
from
is
the
your
most
best.
traumatic thing.
Yeah.
And
it's their choices on how they want to be too. Your children.
It is. It is. And I was one
Oh,
that
come
I
on,
couldn't
Star.
date until I
Oh no, I was just thinking what you just said is their choice and what they were doing just before you said their children. That made me think how that the children we were born to, that they were born to, some stupid children who had no self-awareness at all, zero self-awareness, and then they try to dump it up on you. My own deranged.
And it's your choice not yet. Yeah, to not accept it.
Like that, she twists shit around on you.
Right.
Really? Yeah. And she's
all you've got to learn to not accept it.
But here's the part, Deb. Here's the interesting part. Since I didn't come to the complete awareness step until I came to my late 40s, which was fairly recent, I'm like,
guys are slow.
Yeah. Oh,
hey,
tell me about it. Tell me about it. My younger sister was smarter than me. My younger sister was smarter than me about it. I wasn't getting it, and our DAD's another story. He's the boy that never grew up. The temper tantrum, party pooper, to put it lightly. And mom, and she just, as a little girl, wrapped him around her finger, and I'm like, I've come to the awareness that I'm not doing that. I don't want to repeat that cycle. A pass.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Trina, my mom and I became friends when my daughter was about 10. And I mean, we started getting along a lot better not long after she was born. We did have a clash where I had to drive 3.5 hours to go pick up my daughter who was staying with her because she was going to make her sit at the table and eat liver, which I would never put on my table because I was tortured with that. And I'm sorry, there is not any amount of ketchup in the world to cover liver. Anyway, I think that was the only time we had a disagreement after I had moved out. But we started talking, and also she was going to a therapist with my sister because my sister thinks that the parents, when my parents got divorced, that it was my mom's fault, and it was not. She, yes, asked for the divorce, but it's because my father was a piece of shit. And everything that was wrong in my sister's life, because she was born with 3 kidneys. The third one is this little hard knot thing they can't ever remove. And she always had all these health problems, almost died a couple times. And that my parents spoiled her because they thought they were going to lose her. Well, that didn't do her any favors. And she to this day is into that, what is the word they use today? Entitlement. You know, everything is everybody else's fault, not her responsibility on how her life goes. And so mom went to therapy, and every therapist that my sister has gone to has said, no, there's nothing wrong with your mother. What is wrong is what's wrong with you. You know, everything that's going wrong is with you. And she just kept going to different ones. But mom, after talking to the therapist chastised her because I was pretty much a ghost my whole childhood. And you know, that did me a favor in a way. I learned to, I mean, I was reading Nancy Drew by the time I was 4. You know, I'm only one of 30 people in the whole world who survived a type of viral encephalitis because I got one of the first mumps shots, and that's what it did to me. It almost killed me. I just learned, at least internally, to be a stronger person and stuff. Outwardly, I was pretty much a doormat for a while, you know, until I got together with my husband, and he would chastise me when he, you know, no. You know, so he showed me how to find my backbone. But yeah, I went off on 1,000 different tangents. Sorry. It's sometimes there are people who have the greatest parents, but I think maybe our parents taught us how we should bring up our children when things went real wrong. You know, because you can look at that and it's kind of like, okay, this worked and that didn't. You know, and yes, I still find myself, and my daughter's 35, still saying the same stuff to her that my mother had told me, but she's doing it now to herself because it works. And oh shit, my grandson got his driver's permit. He's 15, he'll be 16 in end of July, and took his first driving lesson, even though we had taught him to drive way before this. But he's out on the road. I'm that freaking old. My grandson is going to be getting a driver's license.
You're not that old.
No, but it just feels like it. You know what I mean? My husband was going through surgeries and home, and he raised him because my daughter went back to work during that grandson's birth or time period, and then it was on the second one, which she didn't have for 10 years. She wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant. Surprise. That's when she started working for her husband, and she's at home mom. But yeah. And she picks and chooses the stuff I give her, you know, and that. But I wasn't anything like my mom. But then again, I knew what she was up to before she wanted to do it. She would tell me, I want to go do this and this and this. And I said, no, you're not going to that party and getting high. I know what's going on, and it would drive her insane, but she forgot I was a teenager too, and I was very naughty at times. Party hardy.
Yeah, right.
Natasha, I think the hardest thing is learning how to heal from any family stuff and finding a way where it sticks, but also to not let it keep cropping up either, or allowing it to. I think that's the hardest part. It took me years to get over my father's shit. And my mom's stuff that, part of it that was hard, I got over that one quicker. In fact, I think it was when my father died when when it really stuck for a while, at least on my father's part. But yeah, at least my daughter wasn't given a whole bunch of crap to heal from, and her sons aren't going to be. So at least I know I broke a cycle.
That's good.
And so for I'd go through anything for the family, my daughter and her grandsons, it's just the way I am, I absolutely adore them. I hate being 1,000 miles from them, but they are where they are because that's where my husband or her husband's work is.
Right.
We didn't expect to be this far away, but I'm sure in the hell glad I didn't end up in southern Idaho, though. Oh, geez, that's where we're looking.
That's pretty bad. That's really bad when it's like we were talking about it earlier, even when Trina was on. It's like, it's like that type of energy. These people who are just, like I guess pretty much anyone that is like anyone you grew up in an environment around someone who just like made you nervous fucking constantly. You couldn't relax all around them. You were constant, and you dreaded when they got home. If you were home doing whatever, you dreaded when they got back.
Oh, bye, Natasha. If you gotta go. You know what? One of my best friends taught me the neatest thing, and you kind of get in your meditative state. Get real grounded, and see everything as pictures that you don't like, and usually they're lodged kind of in your spine. So she says, imagine them there, and then see them go up into flames, burn into ash, and blow away. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Some of those pictures I had to burn over and over because they kept popping up, like a bad copy machine. But I found it really helps because, you just visualize them burning up and going away. And it works.
It's cathartic.
And yes.
Now, can you guys hear me? Because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh, good. Oh,
yeah,
good.
Take care, Natasha.
Bye, Natasha.
But,
Natasha. Love you.
I think that is one of the neatest things I've ever learned. And that because fire it's wonderful.
Cleansing. It's cleansing. I think that's why they have the old Indian shamans would burn sage, to clear the bad energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is absolutely sick. Have you seen the fires when they're doing stuff and they look like those? I don't know how to describe it even correctly. Where it's like these little bubbles of flame on a ceiling, and they're like tuck and roll almost, the fire when it's on a ceiling.
Yeah.
They were showing it for some thing they were doing, and it's kind of like, this is really wrong, but that is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And the form of the fire, the way it looks, I know it was doing something really bad. Mm-hmm. And that but I think if we keep some of these elements, looking at both sides of them, it's helpful in that, because if you notice, the programming is to show nothing but the bad.
Right.
And that, well, here's the bad thing. I still have, this is horrible. I'm like a quadruple Scorpio. My moon is Cancer and my rising sign is Leo. So we're talking about a real pain in the ass. But there's a lot of water there. And I still will not go in deep water where I can't see the bottom.
I don't like to see
shit on me.
That's funny. I'm a Cancer, Scorpio rising, and Aquarian moon. And I don't like. Isn't that funny, Deb?
Yeah, I like water, but I don't want to get into
I love it. We're in Florida. I love it. You know, I love being, even though I don't go that much anymore, but I hope to change that. You know, I'm working on that. Yeah.
Have you been able to work out some things for your breathing?
Well, now I'm going to get some mullein. I need to talk to Ann about that.
Okay. Do you have a health food store near you?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
let me write.
Mullein pops up wild in our place. If you can get mullein to grow in pots in your yard where it's part of your environment,
right,
better. So your health food store might have some that's local.
Okay.
If you grow it, make sure it does not get with your other plants because it will stunt them.
Oh, okay.
And that, so you want it in a separate pot. I'm pulling up mullein all the time because once it got into the food garden part, I was going to just let it go and, pick it for stuff. And it stunts at the plants. It does not do well.
Right.
And that, but yeah, if you could get some seeds that are from some local, or at least find some local mullein somewhere, dig it up and put it in a pot, let it seed, and then go from there because and try to get it not in a place near a road.
Oh, okay.
And that because it's going to be full of all the road poison.
Right.
And that. So, but yeah, see if they'll get it to you.
Well, and another thing another thing I use is cayenne. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, cayenne's great. That's good for your gut too.
It's I initially was introduced to it by a friend of mine who they do it as a cleanse with lemon and water and the cayenne. You blend that up. You use grade B maple syrup. And you can live on that for 10 days. I never did it as a diet. I just used it. And I found I didn't smoke that many cigarettes back then. I didn't really. I lost a lot of weight too. Not that I was ever fat, but that got gained weight after I moved to South Carolina, and my thyroid went nuts. And that's when all of that started. When I told you guys about not smoking anymore, and I had always done that my entire life. And then when I got sick, one thing that I didn't clarify when I watched that video, when we went to the emergency room, I gave them my Synthroid dose, and I gave them what my prescription was for the Xanax, which I don't take. What they gave me, basically they gave me, in 11 days, they gave me 33 1 milligram Xanax. And I never even...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I was looking at the paper, like even after they had done that, they were giving me like 5 a day. And they started giving me Valiums because they were trying to get my heart rate down. But I knew that they were doing funky stuff. You know what I mean? Like, my husband told me, he's like, Becky, there's such a thing as, I don't think you can hear me, as ICU delirium. And I'm like, I know that, but this guy, I don't think I told you guys this was fucking wild. The night that I came out of the stupor, it was just weird. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But the guy, I was kept pushing my button and nobody would answer it. Like, finally, I just was like, what the fuck? The guy at the orderly, he's like, at the desk, he looks up and he says, shut the fuck up. Well, I fucking came all the way too. And I practically sat up and I said, fuck you. I yelled it out. It's like, then the nurse, because they were doing like goofy stuff. They were young, but they were putting their name tags on. They changed their, but they didn't have the right name tag on. Hold on, I got to put this back on. And so she would come in and she's like, don't you want to get better? And she would loosen this BiPAP. You know, that was another thing. I was on that machine for like 3 days. They told him that normally you're not on it for more than 24 hours. So that's kind of what damaged my lungs, I think, because they overdosed me, which made me stop breathing 3 times. And it just, but anyway, so I noticed that when she was doing this, it was like, my lungs were starting to breathe on their own. So when she's taking it out of my mouth, and then my lungs are starting to breathe, and then she's putting it back on, that's when I finally ripped it off, and I was like, put me on the oxygen now. And I must have had the look of the devil in me, because she moved, and the next thing I know, the doctor was there. So, you know, but anyway, that's all under the bridge. I can't do anything about it.
Well, no, but
Getting back to the cannabis. Now, I will tell you, and I know people in my life that have made it their life's career to get on disability. I wanted to work. I've always wanted to work, but because of the fact that I couldn't, they approved it in 2 months. So when I told my doctor that, he almost fell off the chair. I'm like, and you know, but that's what they did to my lungs. You know, I can't make them see that. It's okay, because I think that using cannabis, I'm going to make them function again.
I think that'll help. Are you doing some breathing exercises too? You know, like the ones for the meditative ones because they're real safe. Yeah.
And I also have an exercise ball. I went to physical therapy, and I also did acupuncture, and I hate needles. I was willing to do, you know, whatever, besides short of them cutting out my lungs. They're not going to take my lungs. Sorry. You know, especially when I go down these rabbit holes and I find that I watched something, I think it was posted on the UU board, about the doctor that said there is no such thing as being brain dead, that they take the organs out of the people while they're still alive.
Oh my goodness.
Because when he was I'm pretty sure it was on there yesterday. Maybe it was a different site I was on, but and the doctor was explaining, he's probably in his 80s, maybe not, he was old. And he said that even though they were unconscious, that their heart rate would spike when they started cutting. And he said, think about it. He said, you can't put a dead organ into a live body. And I thought, that fucking makes sense. Nobody thinks about that shit. And now that I've been researching, and I don't know how I feel about, I was listening to some guy today who was talking about all the different alien races, and I don't know how I feel about all that. I know that we have to, you know, realize that there's probably something going on. You know, I don't know how you guys all feel about that.
There's something going on.
They live on us. They feed on us.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless we consent. If we do not consent, that's basically what this guy was saying today. Is if you encounter them, run. I thought, oh well, I'd be fucked, you know, because I can't run anymore. But you know, you just don't. And then he said you call out for help, and it's like, well, there's some kind of help out there. There's got to be. There's, you know, if you look at the cartoons, good and evil, and I do believe that there is evil. I've seen evil, and just
I've seen it. I've seen it. Right. A lot of our family members have seen it in the ether, if you want to call it that. Do you have a reflexology and meridian type practitioner in your area?
Possibly. I'll have to look.
Getting your meridians in line, which is what Qigong is for. And by the way, they have sitting one. So it was designed by a general for his wounded troops, where they could be in their hospital bed, laying down and do these little exercises. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they get your meridians in line. That really helps when you heal. And with the different pressure points, reflexology is like acupuncture, but it's rubbing. And see if you could get some of that stuff going. There is a lot of books out there on sitting Qigong. There might be some on YouTube.
Okay.
And they're real simple movements. I had scanned some from the book, and if I still have them, I can email them to you. I did them for Marlena, because Marlena, she was in line to get knee surgery in Canada, and suddenly they couldn't find her, and they passed her by, and now she's still waiting to get something done with her knee. It's really bad. And
Really, Marlene?
yeah. Well,
that's too bad.
Well, yeah. Well, it's socialized medicine, which is death medicine. You know.
Well, let me tell you something. This pulmonologist gave me. It's called Trilogy Ellipta, because when I went in to see him just this past February, I had just gotten over bronchitis again, because I do get it, since then, but it's okay. So I had a PFT test and I didn't do very well, but it was the same as it was 2 years ago. But he gave me this new medicine, really expensive medicine, but I got it for $10. So I'm like, okay, whatever. What's up with that? Because I used to work for doctors, and I also worked for Blue Cross for a lot of years. So I know about, medicine.
They hated me at Blue Cross.
Oh, well, that's, but so I started taking it. They said, anything that you feel, let us know. Well, as soon as the very day that I took it, I started getting this pain, like in my ear, just a dull pain. And I'm like, and it got, as I kept going, I got, kept feeling it, went into my jaw. So I'm like, after about 2 weeks, I thought, let me call him. So I call the girl and I tell her. And she's like, well, she got back to me. She asked both doctors, oh, no, it couldn't be that. Keep taking it. Do you have an ENT? No. Well, you might have you should go visit one of those, or you may have a tooth infection. So I thought, all right. Now I will tell you this drug. It's three different inhaling medications plus a steroid. So I don't like that.
Boy.
So I'm like, shit. So all right. Plus I have Combivent and a Ventolin inhaler. So it's like, my poor little lungs, what the fuck? I never took any of this stuff. So anyway, I did take the Ventolin and the Combivent before I got pneumonia, but I thought when I take the medicine, I would feel, during the day, I would feel a little bit better, but not really that much better. But when I would wake up in the morning, I would feel like my lungs feel like tissue paper. So I said, I think it's drying out my lungs. I'm going to stop taking this medicine. My sister Kathy tells me they're using you as a guinea pig. So I know about the drug trials. They put out the drugs they do trials. Once they pass the trials, then they put it out to the general population.
Yeah.
That's when people are different. I'm a different person. Things affect me differently, which is why I got an ear infection. Isn't that funny? 2 weeks after I hadn't taken it for 2 weeks, my ear's fine.
Yeah.
And I felt it going back up and out. So I'm like, so Kathy's like, they're using it, and I'm like, I'm not going to be their freaking guinea pig so I can die. They didn't kill me because, it's funny.
Yeah, I had an experiment done on me that was sucky.
I went to the astrologer after I got out of the hospital. And this year I'm having my Saturn return. But I told her, I said, oh, I guess I didn't die because somebody needed me. And she even said, you're lucky you didn't. But she said, no, you didn't die because you've got something to do. Yeah. So I thought, well, okay, what is it? Do you think that our energies, maybe I'm just way out there because I probably shut the door so nobody hears me. Well, no, I mean, it's hard to live in a house.
I'm in a house with my husband, and he's very much open-minded and woo-woo too.
Well, so. John is a computer guy. He's brilliant. He knows how to do all the old stuff. So yeah. I've told him this stuff, and he's like, he looks at me like, and I'm thinking, oh, okay. Does he think I'm certifiable? So, because I'm like, I know I probably sound like it, but anyway. So one day I said, well, what are you going to do if this is a matrix? I said, can you write a program to get us out of it? He was like, well, yeah. He said, but we're not in one, and I don't believe that shit. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I said, well, you know what? I'll have the last laugh when it happens. So, because I really think that there is something going on. People need to wake up.
Yeah. I don't think it's a. I read this woman, Starfire Tour, and she's calling it a core matrix, but it's not. We're not in a digital world. It's real.
Right.
But there's a program running things on how things go.
Right.
And she has seen that we were pulled through a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
And what the program is doing is trying to get us back to normal. The problem is we also got what she calls a dark matter aberration that is running a mind control program, and it has for however long we've been in this particular area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what all the bad people are programmed under.
Right.
And stuff. And she says that's what all these time shifts are. She's the one who invented the term Mandela effect.
Oh, really?
And it was taken away by that broom woman, because she had studied under this woman, worked with her, and she wanted to do a book.
Right.
And she's, I forgot what she calls them, time shift zombies or living dead or something, really. Yeah. And that because, and she says what is happening is there's these time shifts, and right now what we've been working on is getting out of, we've been nuked out of existence, and it was a time loop. And so there's only so many times that it can reboot, and bring us back to a different time and try to fix it.
Right.
And the reason she said Trump, it's not the politics or anything.
No.
It's a matter of Trump was put in because all the time frames where we did not get nuked out of existence, and they tried to bring the best Trump they could. Yes, he's crude and rude. I rather like the bluntness, but the thing is he's the one who keeps the world from being destructed into a nuclear ball. They could not find a good Hillary.
I think Hillary died. I think I've watched that show, that footage of her collapsing on 9/11 that day, and I am telling you, I've seen it from different angles, and I watched it so many times.
Well, she's not human.
She's not.
As far as no, but the thing is
a long time,
but she says this all doesn't have anything to do with politics, and we have free will, and we do have free will on our choices. So all they do is her and a group of people are doing time edits, as they call them, mm-hmm. and try to keep guiding us away from nuclear destruction. The rest of it, people are gonna have to just take care of themselves,
right?
And that, but also what they're working on is shattering the mind program.
Oh, okay.
And it's not when that's shattered, a lot of people are going to go insane. There's just no way around that. The thing is trying to do it gently may not be an option soon, because otherwise, if they stay in the mind program, then because whatever entities is running that program, they like destruction. They like blood. They like death. They feed on it. And then they'll just move on to another world and do it again.
Right.
And so if we can shatter this, it shatters.
The veil is lifting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And I'm going to say something, but go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, no. But her name is Starfire Tor. She does send a thing. I'm not on Fartbook, so I can't read her things, but she does have a thing on Twitter. She's doing a book. She was attacked and her house was burned down, and it almost killed her, I think, during the burning down. So all her funds were wiped out. So she's doing a thing she's doing a GoFundMe to be able to publish her book, because the dark ones don't like her.
No, of course not.
Yeah,
fact,
really.
she used to work in Hollywood. There was a thing where she was showing this picture, She's friends with Whibley Stryber, you know, the
Oh,
guy
yes.
and his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But they showed her, and she was in this outfit with the fur boots on the horse, you know, one of those sci-fi type things, doing a scene for it. And that she was a beautiful young woman. And, you know, as we get older, you know, we get a little bit rounder, but she's still very interesting. Some people can't handle her when she talks, and that because she keeps her energy very guarded. I could tell. I watched only one video with her, and she's very guarded, and I can see why, because she's dealing with stuff that I've only been in the ether a couple times, and
you have to be careful. You have to.
Oh, I found a thing that looked like
amber.
a squid.
I don't know if you can see my necklace. I'm wearing amber. Amber blocks energy. It blocks, you know. I just happened to have it on today, not because of you guys. I was wearing it today. I just automatically wear it. I used to wear it because when I worked, you know, it would block the energy flowing in.
I wear shungite or black tourmaline a lot.
Yep.
And that, so, and then I have other stones to, you know, kind of mellow stuff out, but also magnetite, because that's iron.
Right.
In fact, that's one of the protections. You just have to have it on your body somewhere, is a piece of steel, real steel, iron, or shungite. And that will help you from becoming what they're calling wetware with 5G.
Oh, yeah.
And that I don't know if I posted that on UU about the wetware. It might have been before the thing went under, but
Wetware.
Who owns one of the patents on the wetware for the 5G? Hillary the Clintons. In fact, she owns the patent on the Me chip that is in everything that is digital. The one where they can just shut a plane off in midair or take over the flight of it.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That figures. A demon would. Yeah. A demon disguises a female would.
Yeah. God. Well, I think we have people that are not human. I think they're very human. And I think we also have people that are not, they're just walking entities. There's nothing there. There's a lot of those, unfortunately, in Coeur d'Alene.
Right.
Where they're empty. There's just nothing there. Or you get something that just kind of like, I'm going to walk over the other way. The last time I went down to Coeur d'Alene, I was in Joanne's, and all of a sudden I looked at my husband. It was kind of like, I'm going to scream. I was just pinging from whatever. There was something in Joanne's that was really, really bad. Wow. In a fabric store, you know, but I had a hell of a time getting through there. And I didn't even get everything I needed to. Spent a fortune. But it was just, yeah. So, no, there's something there. Her theory, I had got it wrong when I was trying to tell Danny about it last one. It's something to do with the geomagnetic storms.
Yes.
And with the time shifts, and something with the sun. And even though it looks like it's a little bit, it's causing things, but she said that it's not the volcanoes and that being caused from the geomagnetic storms. The energy never goes away, right?
Right.
So to dissipate the energy of a nuclear destruction, it has to go somewhere. So it's going to come out as earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, that sort of thing, because it's got to go somewhere. So having an earthquake here, an earthquake there, a volcano here and there is really preferable to total annihilation.
Absolutely.
So
I wonder where all the water is going. Like, you know, Danny had said that the tide went out and didn't come back. And, you know, like have you guys seen those? I meant to research it this week and I just didn't get to it, about the lakes that have, like, somebody pulled a drain and they're swirling down. Somebody did a drone and had a drone fly like over it. It was really, really actually interesting, but where's the water going?
Do they have a machine that they're sucking a straw of water?
Maybe. What about that? Do you remember? Jesus, it's been a lot of years now. That coal mine in Pennsylvania started on fire, and they just left it burning because they couldn't do anything about it. I think that thing is still burning. Whatever. Why don't we hear about that stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I don't forget stuff like that. I just, why isn't anybody thinking about that or talking about that? Because people are asleep. They're dumbed down. They're drugged down. They're
distracted. You're distracted with their gadgets too.
You know, and then when I was watching something about they said what's wrong with their eyes, and all of them had like black eyes.
Yeah.
And it's because of the nasty, horrible things they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. You know, years ago, you remember
the Math Solution guys? He's on Twitter, and I think he's got a YouTube. I don't know if he has YouTube. Maybe it's D2.
I've seen it a few times recently.
Yeah.
Do you remember when John F. Kennedy Jr. died?
Yeah.
I started researching because right after his plane went down, there was a Coast Guard dude that said exactly where it was. But then all of a sudden they started reporting it was over this way. Well, when they actually found the plane, it was where that guy had originally said it was. Well, I started researching. I don't know what. I started off with him, went down this rabbit hole, came out on the other side of. That's when I learned about Pizzagate, and I knew about the Bilderbergs anyway, but they, and all the Illuminati crap. But it was like, oh my God, how did I start out over here, wind out over here, and in the middle, it's like, oh my God, there's some bad shit out there.
Yeah.
Stuff you don't. When I lived in South Carolina, they had the lizard people, the lizard man. They're supposedly a lizard man. Everybody made fun of me when I was saying something. My sister Kathy again said something to me about it.
Oh,
well, and I said, well, I'm sure that the people that were the 6 people that went into the sewer to follow this creature, they didn't think it was funny because they never came out. So that's why I do think it's a possibility that reptilians are around.
Crazy as shit is, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, and we don't know.
What kind of bullets and how many? The guy who shot the pastor?
Oh, it was a 45 auto.
And it was 8 shots?
7 or 8.
7 or 8. There, a guy in Coeur d'Alene, this guy, he was in military, shot a pastor 7 or 8 times with a 45. Now, humans would not live through that.
No.
He drew a picture because he said this is what he saw when he looked at this pastor, and it was a reptilian.
I just was reading that thing.
The pastor was out of the hospital in a week.
Oh my God.
With that many in a 45?
No.
And this guy was military.
They have super soldiers. I was just going to tell you, this guy that I was watching today, these were done back in 1994. He talked about, talking about the different alien races and stuff, the Dracos and the Greys, and how they've been here for millions or thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. But anyway, they don't like us. They feast on us.
Don't like them either.
I know, no. But it's just, I just don't understand why people aren't paying attention to any of this stuff. It's out there. Why can't they see it? Why did some of us see it and others don't?
It's part of the programming. That it doesn't exist. It's only sci-fi. And that's why they make sci-fi with all this kind of stuff going on, is so it becomes a fairy tale.
Right.
The thing is the fairy tales were true, and the history they gave us is a lie. It's the opposite.
Yeah, you just made me think, Deb, of how some people actually, well, I talked to very few people, and including my brother, who I can't connect with anyway. My brother's too much like, or the DAD. That's another story. But the Matrix. My brother's like, oh, I didn't like the Matrix, and I thought about it for a while. It's like it's just some people who won't like the Matrix because people, their psyche, I guess, can't handle it. I mean, that part even just hit me now. Their psyche just can't handle it, and and they don't want to be responsible for themselves either. That's the other thing. They refuse to grow up. People like that refuse to grow up with them, and they don't want to see through it. I mean, the Matrix, yeah, that's. I wasn't getting it. I didn't get the Matrix well. It came out like in '99. I watched it that time. It's like, yeah. And when even when you hear somebody like David Icke talk about it, who I'm not like a follower of David Icke, but I remember years ago when he was first on Coast to Coast AM, even with George Norrie. I remember that way back when, and it's like despite, I don't agree with everything. David Icke is who he is. Right with that, and I'm like, at least people are opening up their eyes that they're just getting a tad of what someone's saying and thinking. Yeah, like George Carlin would even say, just people would think more, and there's going to be people who aren't going to think anymore because they're incapable of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just seeing a lot of people who are incapable of thinking past their nose.
Right, but that's their choice.
I saw some videos. One day I was just YouTubing it, and Dick Gregory came up, and I started watching his videos, and I'm like, what the fuck? How did this guy know all this shit? Because he knew a lot of stuff. It's like, wow, I want to go back and revisit those, actually. And then somebody said that they took him out. It's like they take these people out because they know stuff.
Right.
That guy Phil that talked about the aliens underneath the ground. He said, you have no idea what's going on under your feet. And I'm thinking, is that why we're having volcanoes? I mean, who knows? It's like we have to just throw it out there and see, because, maybe together we can figure out what the hell it is. I don't know. Or how to survive it, at least, right?
Yeah.
Vibrate out of this place. I swear to God, we got to raise our energy level up. They're raising it up. Let's raise it up higher and get the hell out of here. I mean, if we're all energy, then isn't that possible?
Yeah.
Like that guy that did the where he went to Peru and put his head against the wall and vibrated and came out into that. Did you watch that? Did you watch that? Yeah. That was a long video to watch that woman, but I watched it. It took me a little bit to watch it, but that was kind of interesting. And then to think it was like the Russian dolls, like.
Me the video from you said the woman, Linda Moulton Howe, the one that related the story. Yeah,
that's who it is. Yeah.
I saw something that was real interesting and I never thought about was how they took away our lead paint, saying it was for the children.
Yes.
And they were pointing out, well, if we have lead paint,
it blocks the rays.
It blocks all the rays, and it was like what Chris was saying about getting visitations.
Yes.
And that because there hasn't been lead paint for many, many decades since I was a little girl.
Right.
And it's kind of like, eating a tiny chip of lead paint wouldn't do what they were talking about.
No.
I never heard of a kid drinking paint.
No.
I'm sorry. I was laughing at Danny talking about her friend in Texas who had a shit fit over the rifle giveaway. Well, schools used to have shooting teams, and they also taught gun safety. I mean, it was real common for kids to come to school with a rifle on the days they had, their shooting class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not common now because people have gone insane.
Right. Right.
But they learned gun safety. Of course, in my day, we would have never brought a gun to school.
No.
We wouldn't have stabbed someone. We wouldn't have shot them. The kids would beat the tar out of each other, and that would be the end of it.
You can't even do that anymore.
No, you're not allowed to. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of kids is they're not learning how to do that.
Right.
Because that's how they learn. There's other ways to do stuff is to first fight it out. And, it was real rare for someone to get hurt in a fist fight.
Yeah.
Hell, I've been in a couple of them. Hey, shit happens. But
yeah, I feel for anyone who's still forced to go to a public school, because after what many of us have been through, it's like there's such a mixture of different, I guess, a couple of different, they call it classes. You got these poorer people who didn't have much, they just come from that crap. They come from crap, and then you got the other crap, which is well-to-do kid. The kid's parents are well-to-do, obviously, and they're just so bratty, and they're assholes. A lot of those kids are just assholes. Yeah, and then you got the other side, the poorer kids who have to defend themselves. I always hated that part about the school system, the way they're programmed, staff is so programmed to they will just side with the well-to-do people. It's like just programmed into them, because obviously if the school collapsed, there's going to be so many people who are enmeshed in that fear of losing a job, even in school, even if it sucks. It's like, they don't like their job. It's like, I don't like that whole dynamic. Like, the poorer kids are the ones who are the outcasts, if you will. The outcasts, I went through that, and I'm just glad I survived it, because you can relate that to others.
Yeah. A bully went after me during elementary school. I mean, there's a lot of times I didn't go to class and stayed outside, not going into the school, and it happens. Whatever. Well, I was one of those kids in the gifted child program. It's one of those ones that smart ass.
Holy
I like to read.
Sorry, Deb. I just was reading.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The screen got smaller.
That's not a coincidence. There's no coincidences. That's not a coincidence. Yeah. Oh my God.
What are you talking about? Shit, never mind.
Oh, Chris. Well, I'm glad that came out.
Oh, almighty.
Yeah, see, if the stuff I had been reading, if they keep visiting, that means you're usually tagged. Holy shit.
Well, have you ever had strange pains, like where you get all of a sudden you'll get feels like a pin in your foot or in your knee or your arm? Yeah. I get those sometimes. I'm like, what the heck is that? And then as soon as I hear it, it's like, I feel it. I say, I do not consent. You can't do this.
Oh, I'll remember that. That's good.
And I also circle myself in white light. I don't know, just because white light is pure to me, and it works.
I go with the pink and green marble bubble, like a soap bubble. Yeah. And if I'm really upset, then it's red with these big old spikes coming out of it like a mace. Pointies. Mm-hmm. But
I mentioned spikes in your hair. I guess I heard that right. I'm trying to focus on this conversation. My brain wants to wander off with shit.
Well, I think looking at everyone's different theories, and so then you can look at stuff in like 360 degrees, instead of just different angles, is helpful, because you start picking up stuff that makes sense. It might only be a little tiny bit of it.
Right, different things resonate, and everybody brings something to the table that makes
even
sense.
Part of it kind of,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see what Chris said. Okay.
Ooh. Well, it's just like, not that I've ever had that experience, but when I was in the hospital.
Oh God, Chris.
That last night, I felt like I was being pulled down, and it was somewhere I didn't want to go, and I wasn't going to go there, and I didn't. But I that's why I think all this stuff is real. That's freaky, Chris. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I would say just tell them you don't consent, and they can't do anything. According to this guy, I'll have to try to research and maybe post it out there. I thought it was going to come up because I had it on my phone, but like I said, they were in 1994. But it was kind of interesting listening to this guy. But he did say, as far as if you encounter it, you don't consent. He didn't say you don't consent, but he said that they don't have your permission, and they can't. Just tell them you don't want them there, and they can't do anything. Although he didn't say that about the reptilian. So,
no, they don't listen, from what I hear. And then I remember I was listening to something, and someone was saying that Enlil, not Enki, the two Anunnaki brothers.
Right.
Enlil is on the Bilderberg.
Oh, I would believe that.
You know, and it's kind of like now I know listening to Lisa, they said that those two guys left, but they were looking back and smirking at him. And the thing is how do they know they left? You know, I mean, they might have saw them leave, but how do they know when they turned the corner they didn't come back? I mean, I don't know, or maybe that was only part of them. They left a part of them behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know.
Supposedly, according to someone, was it Bradley Loves or someone else had mentioned that it was, yeah, I think it was what Bradley Loves was saying, like this guy who went by, he just called him Harry. That's another story in itself. Allegedly, you know, Bradley Loves said, you know, he talked to this guy for 5 hours and he sounded sincere, yada, yada. He was but, oh yeah, he said allegedly in Lil and Inky, these characters, like you said, alleged reptilian race that they live their lifespan is supposedly like 200,000 years. Whatever said, yeah. He said they're still around. He said, well,
they are.
According to Harry, they're still around. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're underground. That's what this guy was talking about today. And I was like, ooh. And they like to feed off of live humans. They don't like us if we're dead. So which made me think about like them harvesting organs and stuff. Like, oh, God. Who really knows?
Yeah.
It's just.
I hate not having that word we use, facts or some truth. I hate that. I like to feel like I have a kernel. Like I have a kernel.
Right. You know, one thing I'm also staying away from is that, have you noticed how they're getting everybody to do that Ancestry.com, the 23andMe?
Oh, yeah.
They can't have my DNA. They probably already have it anyway, but
they have it.
DNA. I know they do, and I know they know where people are, but I've also wondered if they're doing that because there's people that they haven't found and they don't know where they're at, so that's why they're trying to make it appealing, you know, just like what you said with the gun roundup back even in the 80s. It's like, oh, bring us your guns, we'll give you some money, we'll give you TV. Like, yeah, no. And people just did it blindly, you know, like, oof.
I think what they're looking for is the genetic markers that somewhat match with theirs.
Right.
Because they can't blend with us. In fact, they said the Russian and the European families, you know, that follow all that bloodline crap, they can't mix because they have either mentally retarded or highly disabled children together when they mix those two bloodlines.
Right.
But everything, what is it? The Rothschilds, I think, will marry their nieces.
Oh yeah, they're all interbred.
You know, they're all they're brother cousins, sister cousins, and their genetics are dying. Yeah. So I think that's why they're doing the genetic thing, is looking for something compatible to keep their line
desperate, like you said. If they're going they're going to the extremes, they're really desperate because, like you said, it's not going to work. But they're still like sandbox children. It's like please, yeah.
It's there's just some really bad entities, and there's so few of them, and people don't seem to realize that.
Well, and another thing that I find interesting in doing all this research and digging around is that one of the things out there I found is that there's supposedly only 144,000 actual humans on the planet, that all the rest of them, I'm like, oh Christ, you know, really? Who knows? That's some of the stuff, you know, and I started doing that, but then I go back to the UU board and somebody's posted something, so I get distracted. I have like 6 windows open, and each window has probably too many tabs open. So no wonder I have a crash on the computer. But it's really interesting. There's just so many so much information out there, and it's all blended. That's why I think we need to chat and try to figure out what everybody else is. How you doing, Jane?
Yeah, you're just like.
Hey, that's not me. I was just going to ask who's.
Oh no, it's not you. I heard it was Deb really hitting the keyboard real quick.
Yeah, it might be me.
That's fine.
Oh, I've got to go make dinner. I'll leave this running, but I'll be back in a bit if you guys are still on.
Oh
You guys take care of their vice.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, see you, Deb.
Yeah. So now, Star, you're on Rose's perspective page. Are you, Jane?
Yes.
Follow the That stuff's really interesting to me. I really think that it's. What do you guys think about it?
I like it. I find it very interesting. She's been around for a long time, and then she kind of disappeared for a while.
Right.
I think she was being, hounded probably.
She's in hiding. It's like anybody that tells the truth,
right?
They try to snuff them out.
Right. Exactly.
Oh gosh, what you just said. Yeah, don't get me started on that. All these like natural healers that are getting knocked off.
Oh my God. Why can't anybody see that there's something wrong with that picture? It's like,
oh my God, I don't get it.
Even if you, like my husband, even if you don't believe anything I'm saying, look at that for Christ's sake. Look at the earth changing. It's not the global warming stuff, and he doesn't believe that anyway. But like, wake up! I want to shake people. Just
That's right. The thing is, there's no money in healthy people.
No, there's not. There's a cure for cancer. I know there's a cure for cancer.
Of course there is. Absolutely.
When those doctors, when they came in, the first thing they said to me was, well, the good news is you don't have lung cancer. I'm like, oh, well, thanks.
Oh, wow.
Because of what they did, but it's okay. I didn't find out until after I got discharged what they were actually giving me. So, but anyway, in spite of all that, I still think that, we've got to get away from all of that. Just all of the pharmacy and all this.
Absolutely.
Big
Have you ever heard of oxygen therapy, Becky?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oxygen therapy, huh?
Oxygen therapy. I mean, I don't know how expensive it is, but the elites use that, and people with money use that. Yep. Yeah.
Is that where they put you in a hyperbaric chamber or something? Or maybe I need to look
Yes,
into
ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oxygen is like a cure-all.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, and this thing that I've got is just a portable concentrator. So, but I'm going to get off of it. I'm getting better. Dawn's helping me get better.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
In spite of people, the doctor and, they say that, you can't regenerate your lungs, but I don't believe that.
Oh, no, that's a lie. That is a lie.
I still can't believe that I haven't grown teeth yet. I want to grow in the teeth that I don't have anymore, the bad ones.
Yeah, I would have liked to have done that too.
Somebody's like, well, I really don't think you can do that. And I thought, why? Because they said we can't? Because they said we only have two? Really? If we can do anything, if we can speak that into existence, why not? As soon as I do, I'll let you guys know. First, I got to work on my lungs.
There are protocols for that.
That's right. Yeah.
One of them I remember was organic eggshells. Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah, organic eggshells because I guess they contain bone marrow or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. But again, I can't tell you if it works. But I remember looking into it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's just it. If you had everything accumulated in your memory, or just that, in here, then you could just spread it around. Yeah, it's like then, well, if you can do it with no fear, am I going to get knocked off? Is someone going to try to assassinate me now?
No.
I just laughed it off because, like,
Wow.
Don't speak that in. Don't create that. As soon as
yeah,
you think,
exactly.
you know what I do? As soon as I think something that I don't like or is a negative thought, I just delete it. It's like cancel, delete, and then keep it moving and replace it with something positive. You know.
Right.
One of the things that I keep seeing repeatedly, though, through all of my research, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it's like it's all, even in the, like with the meditations and the different chakras and, you know, all that stuff, it's all the heart. It's like the heart is the center. They were talking about that tonight when we first started chatting about the volcano in Hawaii, that's the heart, right? Isn't that what they were saying, Star? Do you remember? Sam, do you remember it? Chris? Well, didn't they say something about Hawaii being the heart?
I can remember a lot of stuff about the heart that's been talked about. It's like, yeah.
Heart of the planet, Becky?
Well, yeah, like heart,
Yeah.
Hawaii is the heart.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw a chart the other, let me see. Hold on a second.
That is very interesting.
I'm going to try to find this picture. Hold on. I have it. Where was it? Of course. Now I can't find
Who's on the call, Star?
Oh, who began the call?
Yeah.
It was. This is off of the UnFuckit discussion. I mean, I mentioned I was hoping anyone else wanted to stick around and talk some more. And Danny was like, you know, Ben had other things to do. So I'm like, she's like, well, Star, looks like you take over from here. She had to do her stuff and go to bed.
Oh, so there was a discussion a little while ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how I missed it. Was it an impromptu?
No, it was like, I mean, like they were saying earlier, it's like Danny was just talking about, she had some stuff on her mind from the get-go, but it wasn't anything like her thing with Ann Callaghan. It was just a generalized thing. Yeah.
Or with Jane Jack? No, I'm kidding.
Or
with Becky G.
Yeah, it was all the crazy stuff that's been going on, you know, with Danny had put a post out there in the UU board on Facebook about, you know, has anybody else been having like just crazy stuff happening? And yeah, kind of I'm noticing it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The energies, I really have to wonder, like,
oh my God, there's so much going on, Becky.
There is.
Yeah.
Are we more tuned into it, or are we, by being aware of it, helping accelerate it? Like, you know, is it a slingshot and we're going to go shoot ourselves right out of wherever we're supposed to be? You know,
that, or, you know, because we have been educating ourselves and we have been open-minded, when shit really becomes obvious to the world, people won't have a clue what the heck is going on.
No, they're not.
But a lot of us will be pretty, you know, we'll have a pretty decent handle.
Right.
Not that it save us, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing how Danny had said that she sees how asleep people are just on her Facebook, and I do too. And I think, you know, before I used to, like, I wouldn't even think about it, but now I think of the words that you know, because it's really interesting, just the different words, what they mean, and, you know, how they can have double meaning, and we don't even know them.
Yeah.
And
and those words are programming.
Yeah. You know who's really interesting is a girl, Trudy Reimers. She's on UU board. She posts some stuff sometimes, and it's like, wow, that's really profound. That's really, like, she's really tuned into stuff, you know, because, like, tell, lie, vision, like, lie. It's like,
oh, right.
I've thought about that, you know, like, and that we each have the ability to figure out what she's doing, but we just, you know, I guess we're not, I don't know, aware. Like, you know, on the Rose's perspective, where they put all those pictures of the sun and the earth or whatever it is. Some of them, like, I just can't see anything in those pictures. Now, one day somebody had to draw it. They drew different things. After that, then I started seeing different faces in those things. Now I haven't recently, but it's just interesting. And that, like with clouds or just looking at, I don't know.
Did any of you guys see that video I posted the other day of, it was really weird. It was a good YouTube guy that I've listened to for a long time, but he was showing a planet in space that was clearly nothing that we are familiar with. And oh, this is so friggin' weird. There was so it looked like a holographic hand in the sky, and he was pointing his finger. And then as the light kind of shifted in space, I could see his outline of his face and his body. Now, I know that's really weird, but
it's weird.
I'm not losing sleep over it, but Jesus, if we're in an assimilated program, or we're in a computer, oh dear God, where are we? We have these overlords.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of any of us knowing what's feeling like we know what's going on. I don't like any of us feeling like we're sort of like some lab rat being used for some experiment for someone else's amusement. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck off.
We come in here with a mind swipe, and we leave here still not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. But at least this group, we're researchers, and we're truthers, and we want truth. And the majority of the world just goes about doing their daily, I go to work, I pack my lunch, I work, I go to lunch, I eat my lunch, I come home, I take the boy to soccer, and then I take, and it's like, and then we watch television, and then I make my lunch.
And then you do it all over again.
Yeah.
Break the cycle.
No, thank you.
It's like trying to break every little cycle. When you said that, it's making me think of recently, and I thought about breaking every little cycle of any sort, anything. Basically, all the false programming, any of it, breaking a cycle of some sort, just and I like make things more complicated. It was making me think of what Nick McKinney was saying, like way back when we were talking, like, I like making things complicated. Oh, Lisa Harrison had said something that, and it was like during a one people discussion, and Nick is like, I like it, keep it simple. And this is also fucking stupid and retarded. It's like you fucking insane kids, what are you doing? Yeah.
Can I ask you guys all a question? Do any of you understand Og?
Tellez? Og?
Yes.
Yeah.
Og?
I do, but I haven't followed him too much in the last several months, just because, he gets way out there.
Well, he just, the thing is the way to waking up and learning everything is simple, and it should be in simple language with simple instructions. And he has it so convoluted and jumping all over the place, and the words he uses, and yes, I understand them, though I can't speak them. It's part of from that thing I had as a kid. My speech gets really effed up. I can't say certain words. It just doesn't come off top. I can't say Knittigan, at least, so I'm not a reptilian. Anyway, but it's just the words he's using in that. Sometimes I wonder if he's kind of a psyop and there to scramble stuff at times. Or he's just so screwed up from everything he did go through. I don't know. I have tried to understand him, and I get so lost that I get a headache.
You know, the one thing I appreciate about him, though, is you can tell he's got a gentle soul.
Yes, that he's a good.
Where'd you go, Deb?
You're muted, Deb.
Sorry about that. And eek, Chris. Yes, it's spider season. It's also carpenter ant season.
Oh man!
And unfortunately, we had to spray poison under the porches. It's either that or they start pouring in, and these things are an inch long.
Yep.
And it's the big wings. We don't have termites. We have carpenter ants of all sizes. And they hurt.
Yeah.
And then we have aggressive house spiders and wolf spiders occasionally. And that. If it was tarantulas, I'd be okay.
Where are you, Deb? What part of the States?
Northern Idaho. Oh, you missed the part. Okay. I'm in northern Idaho, about 38 miles from the Canadian border.
Wow. All right.
I'm above Sandpoint and below Bonner's Ferry.
I see.
Way above, I'm 60-something miles from Coeur d'Alene, above it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my porch right now, I'm looking out at the mountains, and on the other side of those mountains is Montana.
Aww.
I can't see the other side because there's trees there, and it's on the wrong side of the house, and that side is Washington. But I'm I'm in a valley.
Wow.
2,000 feet up,
nice.
between the Selkirks and the Cabinet Mountains.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
You get black bears?
Yeah. Oh, let me knock on wood. I'll just knock on my head. We also have grizzlies here. So.
Oh, grizzlies.
Yeah.
And we have wolves.
Oh,
in fact, and the wolves and the coyotes are mating. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, wow.
Mating, really?
Is that the norm, Deb?
Pardon?
Is that the norm?
No, but wolves, I guess, will screw any other canine there is.
Typical man.
They placed them here, and said they were going to, make sure they don't overbreed. But canines, if you let them go wild, they will breed like crazy. So we have a major wolf problem. Ooh. And we're talking about, if you saw the size of these things, the size of their head is bigger than my butt. Now, I don't have a big butt, but I mean, still,
sure.
They're massive creatures. Mm-hmm. When I go outside, I have a gun that would make some of the people in America go insane, but I have a gun, rifle.
Yeah.
No, that's by the door.
Locked and loaded. Yep.
Yeah. We have it on this thing where it could be locked down, and the trigger's also locked for when our grandson comes to visit. Well, my husband puts them all away when he visits. They all go out in the safe in that. The oldest one, we taught him how to shoot when he was 6. This youngest one, it's probably going to be a lot later in that. Different kids, personalities and that. But they're in the forest in the Sierras, the high Sierras.
Wow.
And stuff. But they don't have quite the critters. They have black bears and mountain lions.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, we got mountain lions, but I haven't seen them. We did see a bobcat once here, and it was in the middle of the road playing the bass fiddle, and anyone who has a cat knows what I'm talking about. When a cat plays the bass fiddle, the leg up in the air, and they're cleaning their butt. It was right in the middle of the highway. And of course, we came to a screeching halt, and it finished, and then it walked away. But and supposedly we got porcupines. badgers, and then what are those? Oh God, it's a real scary one. It's like a Tasmanian devil, but it's not. What is this called?
Do you know
What's it? The real violet creature we never see. It's like a Tasmanian devil. What's
Wolverines.
Wolverines?
Okay, well,
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm looking at you, and I should have thought of Wolverine.
when you said Wolverine, it's like, yeah, how many times I've been called that? Yeah, so
Yeah.
my memory.
Yeah, it's your mutton chops and all that there.
Yeah,
What?
I gotta go check my dinner. I'll be back maybe in a bit.
They're the biggest and the worst?
They're the meanest.
Oh, he just said Wolverines are the meanest creature.
Oh, I bet they are. Okay, I gotta go, guys. I hope you have a great
Yeah, I
day.
just saw that, Becky, in the chat.
Nice talking with you. I'll see you on later. Do any of you guys ever go into the chat on the UU board? Like not on Facebook, but I see it. Chat in Discord, it's called, or
Yeah.
Oh, me.
what is that? What is that all about? I've never been in that. Is that just you guys?
Discord?
Yeah.
Discord's dead. I wouldn't
Oh,
even
okay.
bother. Yeah, I would stick to Danny's website and Facebook for now.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. There's that one new UnFuckit site she made. The Emperor's United site. That one new one. Yeah, the membership one. Which I'm still. I think PayPal. I'm still having a problem with the PayPal thing again, but I'm working it out. Let's just love to still using cash society. We converted into a card though. We converted into plastic though. Yeah.
Well, you guys have a good night. I'll see you on the boards.
You, Becky. Yeah, love you, Becky.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye. I'm gonna get going. I got dinner in the oven.
Okay.
All right. So,
Jane, wow, and Deb, and
do what?
what's up, Cat Bomb and Sam? I don't know. It's like I'm amusing myself about it.
Kat said something a few minutes ago I saw, and I wanted to. Oh, there it is. No. Oh, yeah. She said she knows of someone who grew a new pancreas. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh, who said that?
Kat did. Kat Mom Peg.
Oh, okay.
I know of someone who grew a new pancreas, supposedly can't happen, and he's no longer diabetic. Miracles happen. I totally believe in miracles. Yeah.
Yeah, I was scrolling back up. I was trying to find, I guess, where you were looking at, and now it's like,
Yeah. All right, kiddos. Huh?
I'm gonna say, I'm glad we're getting that talk like this again. It's pretty bad when you, well, I guess to quote that song again, people are strange. It's like this group here, for the most part, for the stream, most part, this group, the way we all chat, this is all I have, except for very few people I might find out. When you go out, you might connect with some people, and hopefully run into some people you already have talked about it with, some things. But yeah, this is the only immediate thing we have.
Well, we were talking about the sun and the black dot in the sun and the sun simulator the other night when we had that call. You remember, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today when I was driving to work, Black Hole Sun came on the radio. You know what song I'm talking about, right?
Soundgarden and Chris Cornell, Black Hole Sun. Won't you come wash the rain away?
Yeah. I swear. I think there are no coincidences. Stuff is done.
I was just thinking too how I've had these moments recently where it's like, if this is just part of one level of a game, if you will. It's like I know I don't care for this at all. It's super sucks. And it's like I'd be nice if there was some sort of way that's like without sending. I guess how can I put it? I don't like mass die-offs, but it's sort of like, can we just
Be done with it.
Clear out this level. Can we clean out this level of the hard drive? That was my other analogy. Can we clean out this level of the hard drive? Yeah.
You know what disturbs me though is I suspect that they've been doing these resets all along. And that's why we have the Tales of the Giants, Atlantis, you know, these other areas of the planet that archaeologists are discovering, you know, the old history that is hidden. And it just seems like they do this every so often, and it's kind of a depressing thought, but you know, I keep thinking, you know, something different's got to come, you know, to break that chain, you know, of repeat and, you know, reset.
Yeah, because it's like one person even said on the discussion way back. Surely the ones who are pulling the main string. Surely someone's on the that side of it. Surely they're getting fed up with the repetition. Someone needs to think more. Use the word rationally, more senseful. Someone somewhere needs to be more sensible about what who's yanking it, the strings, and it's just because I don't like feeling like I don't have any control at all. It's like we have control, but we don't. We know we do innately, but there's it's the missing something little missing, and for all I know, it could be having to do with like what do you call it? The code of leaving the body. How supposedly I've heard from like Josh Reeves, we were talking about earlier, how they have all the hidden knowledge about how to basically leave the body at will and transfer into another body.
Right.
If we had that, if we collected it. Yeah. What's that, Jane?
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up. This whole world is really not.
Yeah, it's like you said, like what Josh Reeves was saying, which I thought was an interesting way to put it, and it could be that too. It's like they don't want us to have that knowledge of knowing, of even coming back here, like you mentioned before, having this erase thing, this mind wipe thing, then knowing who we are until we get come back collectively and kick their asses once we know that
game's up.
Yeah.
Right, but then if we pass and our soul lives, which I suspect, okay, do we remember who in that, in that phase of being, when we've departed the body, does our soul maintain the knowledge, that we gained here?
Interesting you pointed that part out too, about the soul part. See, Josh Reese mentioned too that supposedly, since I need to look it up, about one of the popes in the hierarchy, something about all that was bullshit. That hell was a fictional thing, and that anyone who wasn't
that was the latest pope, whatever his name is.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But Joshua mentioned that, like, these people there's ones who have chosen to do evil, just dark shit, and who knowingly do it, they keep doing it. Well, according to the way he put it, I guess the Pope was saying that all that stuff about there actually being a hell, someplace for somebody to go to sort of redeem themselves, whatever, and come back and make amends, whatever. But supposedly, like I said, those who keep doing it, well, supposedly their soul, if you will, is going to evaporate into nothingness. They literally will have no substance. That's what this Pope supposedly said. I guess that this way that they would dissolve into nothingness. It's like there's nothing there. It's like not even no consciousness. It's like just nothing. So they can't come back and keep just wreaking havoc.
Hey, remember like about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, it came across on the UU page, this guy, I don't remember his name, but he went in and I forget who he was working for, and he I don't want to say decoded the Bible, but he was basically saying that the majority of the Bible is not what we think is made up.
It ties into something else.
It was actually written for, I think, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look, and I will, and I'll put that in the UU. But yeah, he debunked the Bible. It's like, really? but you know, I've read over and over again throughout the years that, you know, the Bible has been infiltrated, you know.
Worldwide, yeah. When people say the Bible here, yeah, we have to remind them, hey, it's a worldwide thing, a cultural thing. Yeah.
And plus, if I remember correctly, in my Christian learning, God had chosen King James to write, you know, for him, but he took that back because King James did not prove himself to be worthy of God's word. I forget exactly again how that went, but King James still, as you know, there's a book by King James. It's called the Holy Bible, the King James Version.
Yeah. Interesting, man. I like the way you put that. Yeah, and the version makes me think of the who is it the victors? His story written by the victors, anyways, and yeah.
Right, exactly.
Talk about I guess to use the humbug would be a close one I could use right now. I admit that I got that word humbug even off an X-Files episode. The name of it, humbug. It's like a phony, like something isn't real or yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who was it that used that word, humbug? It was a cartoon, wasn't it? Humbug.
Who? Wait, what?
They used that term, humbug. Was it a cartoon? Humbug.
I can't remember, maybe, that part. I just remember, I just remember clearly from my recent time at Humbug. Yeah. It wasn't a cartoon character. I know, it's like, wow, well, I know that writers of X-Files might have got the humbug from someone else, and used it. Makes sense, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was all such a false. I'll give AJ that years ago. Alex the Poop Jones. It just came out of my mouth like that. But when Jones came out, the false reality thing, like way back, even in like mid 2000s, when Alex was talking about the whole false reality thing, and when he had David Icke on there too years ago, it's like,
Oh yeah, you have David Icke on every now and then. Yep. I wonder if they parted ways permanently.
Yeah. I'm glad parted ways with a lot of this stuff, including some people here in the States, I'm sure, actually it was a worldwide broadcasting thing, Oracle Broadcasting, when it was all about the Federal Reserve and so forth, exposing it. Yeah,
that's good stuff too.
Yep, and the Chatango chat rooms, Jane. Yeah.
That would be one thing I'd love to see go away.
Yeah.
The IRS, all of it needs to just come down. The judicial system, all of these government wings, you know, and then the deep state, because the deep state's above them, you know, but it's all got to fall apart. It's all got to be dismantled. And if that is not happening, then, you know, it's, you know, carry on as normal here.
Yeah. I'm like, and then, I was even looking in the chat too. I'm just at least some people are listening because, like, but you're saying too, it makes me think of I'm just glad I've managed over the decades to learn to listen more because I didn't have some people have never even had that awareness to listen more. I've had to, like, I can remember when I was a little chatterbox, even in the early 90s, actually in the 90s, but it's like, that's one thing I like about Randy Morgan. There's some people, they like dialogue. like Brandy was saying, and Randy Mulligans was saying, I was like, I remember him saying this even on off-planet media. Like, yeah, I like dialogue. I don't like doing monologue that much. I'd like to hear what others have to say. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
How'd that happen? I was saying, I found it interesting last week when I was down in Florida that I didn't see any chemtrails, none. And I'm sure that that's not the norm, but I was there, most of the week, and the sky was blue, with scattered puffy clouds. But we don't get to see that here very often, do we?
It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, I'm like, it wasn't. It might have been. I could see the blue here. We just had it recently. It was clear blue. The day before, way before it got darker. Way before. Heck yeah, I can remember walking to Lucky's Market here, and it was really blue out. And then as hours went by, I was noticing the trails starting up, the spring trail, and then the more overcast clouds and. Like I wish they would just quit fucking around up there.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. Did you notice? Have you noticed? And if you haven't, check this out. Future reference. When they start spraying, when we can see the sun, the simulator, and it's warm out. And then they start spraying. Once they start blocking out the sun, the temperature drops at an incredible rate.
Thank you. Yeah, that too. Yeah, thanks. I'm sure you remember. I think it wasn't you, but Danny that mentioned it. When she had mentioned in UU about how her and the kids were out someplace, I can't remember where they were out, and it was clear out. Then they noticed that plane going over through the sunlight, and next thing you know, it just, it was where the temperature dropped some. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm going to get going, darling.
Okay, darling.
It was nice. It was fun. I'm so glad that this was still going.
Yeah. I just had that one regret that, I would have already, been up there to Indy and actually seen you by now. I actually said, Jane, I know you got some time on the weekend. It's like, it's not having some wheels has really been a pain.
I know.
My own wheels, it's a bitch.
I get it. We'll figure something out. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Sure. I think about it a lot. We definitely have to get together. So.
Yeah, that's what's retarded about it. Two people who don't live that far from other who are, who are in this warrior tribe mind. It's like, we should be able to connect pretty easy.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even if I don't have any wheels, but still, I hate taking buses, but
I know.
Anyway, Jane, I'm glad you enjoyed your visit down Florida. I guess I think it all went well.
Well, I didn't expect it. I heard a friend was driving down, and I jumped on. It's like, let me ride. I'll drive. So I did. I drove a lot, and I got to go hang out with my girlfriend. The person I rode with, he was going to an all-guy thing, a tennis thing. And so he was going to South Florida, and I was going to Central Florida. So it worked out. He dropped me off at my girlfriend's house, and he picked me up the following Thursday, and it worked out fine. So.
That was, now if I can get some other things to connect on my end, because, it's like there's, way we're connected. I mean, yeah, it's like the way we're all connected now. It's I'm glad, and now I get to see some faces still. It's like obviously, Jane, we can only do so much on audio. Plus, two, if you have to read lips sometimes. Anyway, yeah, I know you got to go. I guess. Oh yeah, I gotta end this myself too. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Shit. Okay.
Did you hear me?
Oh, what? I was getting ready to. Yeah, I'm getting ready to sit down. What did you say, Jane?
Yeah, I was muted again. I was saying, okay, have a good evening, sweetie, and I'll see you in the UU room.
Oh, definitely, dear. Oh yeah.
All right, love.
Yeah. Love you, Jane. Love you guys.
I love you too. All right, we'll talk
Bye.
soon. Bye.